Hello everyone, this is Dr. Vikrant. Today we'll be discussing about reinfection in COVID-19. The discussion about reinfection started in the month of May 2020 when Korean scientists have come up with a study claiming that patients who were discharged from hospital after two RT-PCR negative tests were found to be positive on consecutive testing. They found re-positive cases of 44.7%. But interesting thing to note is the scientists themselves have said that out of the 108 re-positive cases, none of the patients had viable viruses. Viability means infectivity, the virus which can transmit the infection from one person to other person. The gold standard for viability is through culture. None of the patients, retested positive patients, that is out of 108, none of the patients the virus has been cultured, indicating the virus might be non-viable. They came up with the phenomena that the dead viral particles might be responsible for the repeat RT-PCR positivity, and none of the patients should be infective because the virus were non-viable. Similar conclusions were come up in other studies claiming that false negative laboratory results in the and prolonged viral shedding rather than reinfection is the cause for repositivity in COVID-19 PCR tests. Similar study was also conducted in China. One interesting thing to note is regarding mild, moderate, and severe cases, how the repositivity rate is. Patients having mild cases initially, the repositivity rate within the next 28 days is relatively high, and moderate case also the repositivity rate is 47%, and severe cases the repositivity rate is 0%. Though this paper, the authors have claimed that even though PCR was positive, the infectivity to other person is nil to negligible. One interesting thing to note is regarding the antibody titers in patients having critical and non-critical illness. The green here indicates the patient having critical illness initially, that is, patients requiring mechanical ventilation, oxygen support, severe lung involvement, and multi-organ dysfunction. These patients had relatively high antibody titers in comparison with patients having non-critical illness, that is, patients having mild illness without any pulmonary involvement, patients without hypoxia. These patients have low antibody titers. This was thought to be the phenomenon, that is, a re-positivity of RT-PCR is because of the dead virus until recently. About 1 week back, during the past week, this became headline that Hong Kong, one patient tested positive for RT-PCR after 5 months after initial infection through a completely different strains of COVID-19. So how is it possible, and how did the scientists come to this conclusion? Looking at the case, he is a 33-year-old man from Hong Kong who was initially diagnosed in the month of March with mild infection. He was admitted in the hospital for a period of 3 weeks, and he tested twice negative through RT-PCR, after which he was discharged from hospital and he was completely normal during this 5 months. For a business trip, he went to Spain, spent 7 days, that is 1 week there, and on return, because of the mandatory arrival testing, he was tested through RT-PCR again. Then he was found to be, even though he was asymptomatic during the arrival, he was found to have very high viral load on arrival. Since the initial sample from March was available, it was compared with sample from this month, and what they found was there was significantly difference between the viral strain of initial infection and the current infection. There were 24 nucleotide differences between the virus of the first and second episode of infection, indicating that the patient might be infected with a completely different strain of COVID-19. Summarizing the findings, during his initial admission, he was having mild infection, the viral load was not documented, and antibodies were negative during the initial hospitalization. Important thing to note is antibodies developed after 3 weeks. So the patient sample was taken within the 14 days of admission. So this might be false negative result during the initial admission. Inflammatory markers and chest CT findings were not available during the initial admission. RT-PCR was positive and followed by 2 negative RT-PCR, after which he was discharged. The viral load details were not available for initial admission, and he got infected in Hong Kong during the first infection. Coming to the reinfection, he is completely asymptomatic but found to have high viral load on RT-PCR, and antibodies were positive for IgG, indicating even for patients having IgG positive or IgG detectable titers, they are at risk for developing reinfection. CRP was mildly elevated, indicating inflammatory process is going on even in the second infection. Though CT chest was normal, RT-PCR was positive with high viral load, and the second infection most probably he acquired in Spain. When the virus gets infected in a geographically distinct areas, they develop into a completely different strain, different from the original viral infection. So the patient, if they travel from one area to another area, another geographically distinct area, there is a chance, because of the mutation of the virus in the newer area, it might be different from the virus in the same area, and the patient may get infected again. So this was my initial thought process. Because of the geographical boundaries, the patient might be infected with a distinctly different serotype of COVID-19, and that too because his initial infection was mild, he had low antibody titers, and the patient got reinfected. This was my thought process. But there was a second case of a reinfection which was documented in USA. Here, it occurred in a 25-year-old man who was diagnosed with COVID-19 in April 2020 with mild illness, and he completely recovered from COVID-19 with negative RT-PCR done twice. He was discharged from hospital completely asymptomatic for a period of 1 month, and after a period of 48 days, he developed symptoms again in the form of fever, myalgia, cough, and he was admitted in the hospital for hypoxia again. Interesting thing to note is, though the initial illness was mild, the subsequent illness he developed moderate to severe infection requiring oxygen administration and hospitalization. So even though the patient might be getting reinfected again, there's still a probability that patient might develop moderate illness. So how different was this first infection compared to the second infection? They identified 9 distinctly different nucleotides in comparison with 24 in the first Hong Kong case. Scientists were in the opinion that this most probably is because of reinfection from a different COVID strain compared to the first one. This is just a probability, not 100% confirmation. They were in the opinion that it is because of the new COVID strain, but there is also a minuscule probability that it might be because of the original COVID strain, which got reactivated within the patient. As we can see, the time frame of the initial case was about 5 months in comparison to the second case, which is very less, of about 1.5 months. So the probability of reactivation of the virus cannot be ruled out in the second patient. Considering both the cases, is reinfection possible? As of now, looking at the evidence, I think reinfection is possible. How common is reinfection? I don't think we need to worry in our daily clinical practice for the cases of reinfection, though many of the patients tend to develop recurrent URTA symptoms even after recovery of COVID-19. If the patients are doing clinically well, I don't think we need to investigate further about the cause of URTA. Most probably, many of the cases developing URTA after the recovery from COVID-19 is because of other infections apart from COVID. So in general clinical practice, I don't think we need to worry about chances of reinfection. So if the patients are really developing reinfection, who are the patients that are more prone for this? Patients having Mild infection initially tend to have low antibody titers as seen before, so they are the patients more prone for getting reinfection. So 100% protectivity of a subclinical infection cannot be assured. So we have to take a call on vaccination also. If a patient develops mild infection initially, should we vaccinate them or should we hold the vaccine is the important question. Further studies and further evaluation of such cases need to be done before making any conclusive statement about this. Thanks for watching.